Hello, good evening. We're back.
Hello, we are back from Cortina, not just back in general.
Yes, as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, I've got my Cortina flag in the background. It is in reverse because I forgot to flip the image. Um, but Chris, you can read it normally.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I can read it fine. It looks good.
Yeah.
We did well to get there. Those banners were everywhere in Cortina, so it's good to have one.
Wait, I might be able to. No, that's not done what I wanted. Undo, undo, undo. Control Z, Control Z. There we are. But yeah,
Nice.
it's there's a lot to catch up on in the last 7 days since we've done a stream.
Yeah, gosh, yeah, it has been a week, hasn't it? I feel like it's gone so quickly but slowly at the same time. But yeah, we had a good time in Cortina. I've got my this Cortina jumper on, which is amazing. And I also got what did I buy? I bought this little mascot because they don't have the main mascots have sold out. So I'm just holding up the little snowdroppy one, the smiley one. There's quite different ones you could buy. So I got the smiley one, and then this wonderful cowbell, which I was very pleased to buy. It's a lovely little Milan Cortina cowbell. Probably can't hear that, but if you did, it's very loud.
Yeah,
Apologies.
I was worried it was going to mess up the audio, but instead, Zoom seems to have filtered it out completely, which is overcorrecting. But oh well.
But
While we're
hey,
showing off our new toys, here's my. Although we can get a soft toy of the mascot, I do have a little snow globe here of her in. So here's Tina. Not that you can see her very well.
yeah, it was a shame that they sold out all the mascots, but I have ordered one, which will be here in July. So,
When I opened the main Olympic app this morning, the top story was, "You can now order mascots again."
dear me. I mean, to have them sell out in 5 days was a bit crazy. They didn't plan this very well, especially given there's a Paralympics to come as well. It's not like it's just this fortnight they need to worry about. But yeah, but no, it was good, wasn't it? We had a good time in Cortina. It was cold. We saw snow, we saw sunshine, we saw lots of curling. So yeah, we had three skeleton sessions, two curling sessions, and one alpine skiing session.
Yep, and we got our pin badges from each to show we'd been there.
We've already had someone in the chat. All in the game is asking, are we expecting feisty atmosphere for the men's and women's ice hockey finals? Well, there was a bit of argy-bargy today, wasn't there? I had one of them on. Was it? I don't know which one it was now. Was it Canada, Switzerland?
Ah,
Maybe.
possibly.
No, Switzerland. I can't remember who it was. But there was a bit of a scuffle at the net, which was good. So yeah, maybe. I mean, I guess we're expect. Is it USA? I'm not actually kept
So
across the ice hockey.
women's finals and bronze medals will be on Thursday. It's going to be US and Canada as expected in the women's final, and I believe Switzerland and Sweden in for the bronze. We'll come to it later. It might be Finland instead of Sweden. I'm not sure. Um, but then I think the men's is now coming into the quarterfinal stage. But I think we are still expecting it to, unless there's a shock, it's going to be USA Canada.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we'll get some sort of. It might be a little bit feisty because they are North American kind of rivals, but also yeah, friendly, I guess. But
Well,
yeah,
it
it's really
was.
interesting.
Well, sorry, you go ahead.
Also, it's really interesting that when I was in Cortina, just hearing I heard a few American fans just saying how they're like, oh, our women are definitely going to win, but our men, who knows? So the Americans aren't as confident with their men either. So
Yeah, because I mean, I suppose that the last year when the NHL held a four nations playoff of NHL players representing different countries, and that was days after Trump started threatening tariffs. That was, I think, in the first 10 seconds, about three fights erupted in the USA Canada match. So um, I don't know. I think perhaps the feelings aren't as raw as they were back then, but it's still it's not the most cordial relationship at the moment.
no, but we'll see what happens.
But yeah, should we? We'll jump in, and because I'm not good at ordering things chronologically, should we just jump in alphabetical order of the sports again?
I think that's the easiest way to do it because there's been a lot's happened. So alpine skiing is top of the list.
Top of the list.
Um, so I think obviously we did the downsell and the team event in the last catch up. So we're just going to do the rest of them. Obviously, the women's slalom hasn't happened yet. That is tomorrow. That is the last of the alpine skiing events. Should be interesting because Michaela Schifrin still doesn't have a medal at these Olympics, nor the last Olympics. So it's been a while. So maybe she can. This is her best chance tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. But Men's Super G, that was the first kind of one we had, and that was yeah, that was. I mean, we said Von Almen was the star of the downhill, and he did the same again in the Super G. A bit closer this time wise, but yeah, he's been the Swiss star of the games, getting 3 golds, did it in his 3 events. Thank you very much. He's now the big star of the skiing, not Odermatt, who did get a bronze in this. So he's leaving with well, 2 silvers and a bronze, which is a decent haul. He's got 3 medals, but I think he would have wanted a gold for one of them, especially in the downhill, but not to be. Ryan Cochran Siegel defended his silver medal, if that's the thing. You can defend a silver medal.
I suppose you can.
Yeah, he did that in the Super G, which is really good for him actually. And then yeah, as I mentioned, Odermatt got the bronze. The women's Super G was bonkers. Like this was the most like crazy alpine event I think we've had at really these Olympics. It was just carnage. Basically, it was very foggy. It was a really tough course. There was one section which kind of kept catching a lot of people out. So when the entire podium of the downhill didn't finish, you know how tough it is because you obviously expect this to be a similar medalist for the downhill and the Super G. So yeah, they say all of them were loads of big names went out. Kira Vidal, Miriam Pushner, Aika, Sofia Goggia, BC Johnson, as I mentioned, all the champions, and even Esther Ledecka, the Czech snowboarder, didn't finish either. So it was a bit of a, I want to say a random podium, but Federica Brignoni did win quite comfortably in the end by 4 tenths, which was a huge gap, an incredible run. If you watch it back, she was so on it, and great for her given she had the injuries and wasn't sure if she was going to be here or not. But to get the gold was a real kind of fairy tale. Um, and then the surprise, I guess, was the French in second, Roman Miradoli, who I don't think has ever had a World Cup podium, so in any skiing. So she's got an Olympic silver medal now, which is great. So it's just that kind of day when it was a day for someone to kind of surprise. And Cornelia Hutter, Austria, got the bronze, who was in the Austrian team that didn't win a medal in the team event. So it's nice that she's got a medal too. So she wasn't even the top Austrian. So yeah, it was a real random mix of like, you know, if chances. If you can have a chance to win a medal at the Olympics, this was it. If you finished the run and had put in a decent time, you were there. So only 26 finished of about the 40 that started. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
think it might make sense to then talk about the women's giant slalom because Federica Brignoni is very much the toast of the town in Cortina at the moment, following
yes,
her second gold in the GS.
which we were there for. We had tickets for this. This was a lovely sunny day in
Yes.
in up the mountain in Cortina. Yeah, she put down an incredible first run, which yeah we were with her. It was just incredible. She was amazing. And then the crowd went wild, and obviously she had enough of a buffer for the second run then to kind of like not she didn't have to do the fastest time. I think she only did the 14th fastest time in the second run, but the gap in the first one was so huge that she did that. And then the crazy story was the shared silver, because you think, oh, that's not that unusual to have a shared silver between Stuyvesant and Sarah Hector, the defending champion. But it was the fact they did the tie in the first race run and the second run the exact same time. They couldn't be split across either run both times. It was, I wonder if that's ever happened in skiing before.
I was
Highly unlikely.
just sad that the Albanian who was tied with them after the first run couldn't join them.
Yes, no, she had a shocker of a second run, we 25th actually in the second run, after that really good first run. So Lara Corteri, one to remember. She's only a teenager, obviously Italian heritage, mom an Olympic Super G champion from Salt Lake. But yeah, other than that, again, it wasn't. I guess a few names kind of messed it up a little bit, but on the whole, it was kind of Brignoni as expected, and we knew Hector was going to be on the podium because she's defending champion, and a few others kind of disappointed. Good performances from the pole. I thought she did really well to get seventh. Alice Robinson was eighth, and Igorgia dropped from third to ninth to 10th on the last run, and Michaela Schifrin only 11th. So we'll see how she does in the slalom tomorrow.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you
Uh,
think Brignoni can get all three? Add a slalom gold to her?
I don't think
Oh,
she's
was she not
down for
entered?
the slalom.
Oh,
No,
okay.
because slalom is even more niche now. So Brignoni is obviously more. If you've got Goggia doing like she's best at downhill, then Super G, then Giant Slalom, whereas Brignoni is maybe better at Super G, Giant Slalom, downhill in that order. Not many of them will do. do the slalom. So a slalom you've got from the GS, you will have Lara Culturi again, Camille Rast who's having a good season at that. Lena Durr, we saw who was in second after that first run, the German. She dropped down a bit off the medals, and then Schifrin, Sarah Hector, Emma Eicher, the German I mentioned. She's the only one who kind of does all of the events. She's the real kind of all rounder, which is a shame because had there been a combined event, she probably would have won that. But yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, the Italian that came fourth in the giant slalom is in the slalom as well. So she had a good day and she had a good second run. So yeah, we'll see. But Schifrin, Hector, they're probably their favourites. Maybe Camille Rast as well, but we'll see.
But then history made in the men's giant slalom, and who would have thought that
Yes,
Brazil would win a gold medal on snow before Britain would in Olympic history?
yes,
Uh,
yes. Oh, we just though. Oh, we just.
yeah,
Spoilers. No, but it was such that again. He did it on the first run. The first run was just incredible. He had nearly a second on silver medal in that run, and only it was actually his second one was only 11th. So it shows how much he was maybe feeling the pressure a little bit to get that first goal for Brazil. But yeah, he did the job on the first run, easily done, and then yeah, got caught home for that historic, amazing moment to see him celebrate that gold. And yeah, obviously Brazil are going wild for him. So it's good that this is their first ever Winter Olympic medal, and it was a gold, and it was a great goal. So, and then behind him it was Odermatt in silver. And Loic Mayard in the bronze, which brings me on to the men's slalom, which was yesterday. And Loic Mayard is the slalom champion, which was it was nice to see. He's a very solid, consistent performer. He's not always the favourite, but he's always on the hunt for the medal. So I was really pleased to see him kind of get the gold the big gold for once. And then it was the Austrian Fabio Gestrein who got the silver, which is great for him because I think he was a really good junior. Hasn't done a whole lot massively in his career since. So a nice surprise silver for him. And then obviously kind of the legend Henrik Kristoffersen, who has been around for 10, 12 years at the top of his game. Good to see him get up there for a bronze after a kind of a tricky-ish first run. Yeah, but it was brutal conditions for that first run. A lot of people suffered. And then obviously the second one we didn't get as many DNFs. The first one we lost a lot, like Rosat, Braathen, Fella, Vinazza, well, the main Italians, and Laurie Taylor of Britain. They all went out in the first run, and only Clement Noel, and then the leader, Atlee Lee McGrath, messed it up in the second run, which was a shame for McGrath. He dominated the event this year and just kind of threw it away, and then obviously threw his skis away, had a little tantrum, and then laid down in the snow. And yeah, it's tough. Obviously, it's tough when you do throw away a gold medal effectively. So, but for the Brits, Billy Major's first run was incredible to get 13th, and then he was only 19th on the second run, which put him down in 16th. But he was the top Brit, which is really nice for him to see because he's still quite young. So hopefully he's got another couple of Olympics in him. And then he was just ahead of Dave Riding, which was really nice. It was nice that there was that little changing of the guard moment with Dave Riding in 17th. Yeah, his first run he was only 19th, and then was 13th on the second run to get that 17th.
it's a shame that Dave couldn't be a bit more competitive there, but he was dealing with some really tough conditions in that first run. I think with the level of snow, just each competitor was having a tougher time than the last. And it's really nice to see that he got down, he completed. It could have been much worse. I would have loved to see a top 8, but it wasn't
Yeah,
to
I
be.
know.
And what a
That,
career he's had.
he said it himself in his interviews yesterday. I saw it because he said like, oh, he's got no regrets. He kind of said last year, like a year ago, maybe I hope I've got one more year in me. And he kind of said, yeah, like yesterday, I kind of didn't really. And I said it in the preview, like this year's not been a great year for him. It's kind of come a little bit too soon. But yeah, it's just a shame. But because he was obviously sixth at the World Champs last year, so it shows how much he's kind of dipped a little bit. So it'd been nice to have had that sixth at these Olympics. But he did well. He finished, and he got another top 20 at the Olympics, which is his fifth Olympics. So it's pretty impressive, really.
Yeah, but it does mean that the remains Britain's best result in alpine skiing still belongs to Gina Hawthorne, and you should read my article on that in
You should.
thesnow.com.
You should.
But yeah, that's the alpine wrapped up for now, isn't it?
Just a quick question in the chat. What is GB's record medal haul at the Winter Olympics? It's 5 medals, which was from Sochi and
And
Pyeongchang
Pyeongchang.
shared. Obviously, Sochi was an upgraded bronze in the bobsleigh. So,
Sochi had a
yeah,
silver medal, whereas it was 4 bronze in uh,
yes,
Pyeongchang. So it's technically
it's yeah,
Sochi has the edge.
but hopefully it can be here. But we'll see.
Moving on to the biathlon, I have to confess that I've not followed this too closely, and I don't believe Chris has either. Normally we draw in our friend Dan to cover this, but he was unavailable tonight. But Simone Julia in the women's 15 kilometer individual, I mean, she's been really showing her shooting prowess over this tournament. She's won her second gold medal after the mixed relay. And she was fantastic in that mixed relay, just sort of very calm. I don't think her shoots could have gone any better. They were so quick and so accurate, and it really was a work of art. Moving on into the men's sprint, Quentin Fillon-Maillet sort of continuing on that sort of French strength in the biathlon in the 10 kilometer sprint, holding off the Norwegians. I didn't watch this one. What's the difference in terms of time? With 13 seconds, which over a sprint, it looks pretty comfortable. And but the Norwegians getting a bit of revenge in the women's sprint, Marine Kierkegaard, and in the men's and in the pursuits today. Oh, sorry, not today. Yesterday. Today's Monday. No, what day is today?
It's Tuesday.
It's
today,
Tuesday.
isn't it?
No, 2 days ago. I don't know what anything is anymore. That yeah, so a win for Sweden for the men, and Laura Vitozzi, which Dan seemed very enthusiastic for. Another home gold there, and a pretty substantial 28 seconds over second place with Kikiedu. And yes, today was the men's relay with France winning again, showing a lot of strength over Norway at the moment, and I think it sort of seems to be like the legacy of the Fourcade years. Pretty close though between them and Sweden, less than 10 seconds for something well over an hour. Let's see if they got, what were their, can I look at that? What does because I know that extra rounds had to be used, but I don't understand it. I wish I could be a bit more insightful on this. I haven't had the chance.
We don't have our expert with us, basically. So that's it's not your fault.
Yes.
we can't be experts in every event.
Exactly. But on to an event that we do know a bit more about, bobsleigh.
Yes, yeah. I'll just start with what's just finished,
Okay,
which
yep.
was the men's two-man, because that is literally just finished in the last 20 minutes. And it was a German sweep. Shock horror. I mean, yeah, they were leading. Well, I think it was 1, 2, 3 pretty much all the way through. So yeah, it was a good, obviously good performance from the three squads. But it was this. But I guess the main thing was it was a kind of a switch around that Francesco Friedrich was going for the three-peat in both the 2 and the 4, but he was bested. He was bested by, which was amazing. Across the runs, he was a second ahead. When you look, the bobsleigh is always quite close over the 4 runs, and even in this today, they're like it was like 100th here or there, was separating the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever. But there was a second between gold and silver, which is just so huge in bobsleigh, especially against Friedrich, who again has 4 gold medals from Winter Olympics. So it's great for Lochner because this is his last Olympics. That was his last ever two-man run. He's retiring after these games. So for him to put in a performance like that and to get the gold was amazing. So it's a nice story that they've kind of switched around, and obviously the 4-man still to come. So we'll see how they do there. But yeah, Lochner's finally got a gold medal after a few silvers over the years. So yeah, Germany 1, 2, 3. I think USA were 4th, and
USA
then
4th, yeah, 2.26 behind the winner.
and
Bradford
then
down in
and
12th.
yes, well they kind of intentionally gave up in a weird way because I forgot the guy's name. It was Taylor Lawrence had an injury overnight, is a niggle, so they withdrew him from the team today. Leon Greenwood stepped in, made his Olympic debut, which is great for him, but they decided they were only going to push at 80% out of the gate, which was a bit interesting. I know that the Eurosport commentator was very much like, "What's the point? This is the Olympics. At least try." So they were kind of using them as a test run for the 4-man, which makes sense. And hopefully that Taylor will be back then for the 4-man without this little niggle. So yeah, it was a shame because they just kind of went down. Basically, it wasn't like they were fighting for a position. So it's a shame to see them drop from a top 8 position a bit further down to 12. But the fair play to the Romanians, by the way. They had a great day yesterday. They went went from 10th to 5th, I think, in that between the first and the second run. With that, the second run was third overall, so they had a really good team, and it's nice to see the kind of smaller nations of the Winter Olympics kind of have a good time.
Yeah, Romania are a funny one because they're present in sort of all of the sliding sports, and they're not. Well, there are sort of like ski resorts and whatnot in Romania. They're not. They don't have a sliding track, so it's interesting to see how they are sort of this ever-present force and
Yeah,
seemingly developing. Even though I've got the wrong team up there, but yeah, getting better, and I'd like to see a Romanian medal in a sliding event soon.
it'd be nice. Yeah, maybe next time.
As long as it doesn't cost
'Cause, yeah.
Britain, I'm fine.
Yeah. And then I guess the big story was yesterday with the women's monobob, which was, yeah, I mean,
Speaking of
we've said
people
it
who
for,
finally got a gold medal,
yeah, literally, yeah. I mean, Alana Myers-Taylor, I mean, how it's just ridiculous how she's been around forever. Like she's 41. I remember seeing her in Sochi, and it's just crazy that she's out, yeah, getting the obviously, but the monobob obviously came in only at the last Olympics, so it hadn't been there sooner. She may have won more gold, but she's finally got a gold. She come into this with three silvers and two bronze from previous Olympics, stretching back to Vancouver. And now, yeah, she won the gold medal, and it was lovely to see her finally have that moment after, yeah, literally over a decade of, or 2 decades of competing at the highest level in this sport. And yeah, and I love the fact there was a stat that both her and Katie Humphries who got the bronze. Obviously, both parents, both their kids were all there on the podium. It was lovely. Well, the best thing was that I think they've won medals in their 20s, 30s, and 40s at the
wow.
Olympics. Both of them, which is incredible. They've shared the podium together so many times. So yeah, I love that. It came down to the wire as well. It was only 400s, and because Laura Nolte of Germany was leading the whole way, and then literally the last run, it was just those couple of hundreds that didn't go her way, and she only finished ninth in that last run, and Alana was second. So it kind of that was the time that got all those 400s for the win.
But there's something a bit almost poetic about it, that the fact that she got it on the last run, where in Sochi she sort of lost it on the last run in the two women, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken. So
yes,
she sort of finally had that inverse of that moment, and it felt like a big, almost justice. There's no justice in sport, but it's
yeah,
that sort of feeling of redemption.
yeah, definitely.
And then moving on to that, we've got cross country skiing, which I've done my best to keep up on. Um, but again, not my area of expertise. But so it was Tuesday that we last spoke about it, which was when we had the classics. Since then, in the women's cross country, the Swedes continued on. Frida Karlsson winning her second gold and Sweden's third gold, and Ebba Andersson following soon after that, and Johannes Hirschflut Kleibo continuing his dominance, looking completely unbeatable.
Yeah,
Um, Now, the Swedish women as a team were looking completely unbeatable when it came to the relay, and it was probably looked to be that they would need a comedy of errors for them to not win the gold, and pretty much a comedy of errors it was. It would almost be funny were it not so, so much at stake in terms of the Olympics. That's it was. I believe Ebba Andersson on her second leg, she fell over twice. The second one was a full somersault. I don't even know how it happened, but went full head over heels. Lost her second ski, her right ski, and I think it was broken at that point, so she sort of had to trudge along and propel herself forward with one foot and one ski. Meanwhile, a coach was running over to bring her a replacement ski. He fell over in the snow. Um, they ended up at the transition from second to third being eighth, I believe, and yep, eighth on the screen there. And yet somehow, such as the strength of their team, managed to cut an almost 80-second deficit down to 50 seconds, and move from eighth into second. But all congratulations to Norway for winning that gold. I think they deserved it, despite the chaos that ensued, and Finland rounding it out for an all-Scandinavian podium.
wow, yeah, that's yeah, it was fun. I did see some of that.
Yeah,
Those clips were pretty funny.
it is funny, and you also feel really sorry for them, and then you feel bad for finding it funny, and it's um and
Um, so
Clyde.
so
Oh, sorry.
so yeah, I wasn't sure how much cross country skiing there was still left to go.
Well, we've got We had the men's relay today, and Kleibo continuing on with his dominance. He's looking to get gold medals in each, and that's still on the cards for him. So
Wow.
then tomorrow we've got the women's team sprint, and then as well as the men's team sprint as well. And then Saturday and Sunday is the big one, the Mass Start Classic, the 50 kilometers. That's the one that's the big deal, and they often award the medals during the closing ceremony. So it's a tough one, but we'll something to look forward to on the big day if you like a long test of stamina, both for the athletes and the viewers.
Yes. I've had a question in the chat about lottery funding. How much lottery funding goes towards Winter Olympics compared to Summer Olympics? And I've just had a quick check. For Summer Olympics in Paris, it was 240 million, pretty much. But I don't know the numbers for these Olympics in Cortina and Milan. It was but in Beijing it was 22 million for the winter team. So that's quite a difference. But I guess fewer sports. But we're obviously honing in on certain sports there for the for the money.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Excuse me, I caught a cold in Cortina.
Yes, the Cortina Logie.
Not just for the sake of the alliteration. But moving on to the curling, and we shall start with the women's tournament. This hasn't been, from a British perspective, it hasn't been going wonderfully. We had a surprise win over Canada, which Chris and I happened to be there for,
which was great because we were not expecting to win that, and they did really well. It was a good match, and
we were next to some very animated Canadians, which kind of made it a bit sweeter.
Yes, it was fun.
And Britain's other win was against Denmark, which is a more expected rival to win. I don't know if they can still qualify, so they've only got one match.
Yes, they can.
Oh yeah, three matches left. Two of them, Italy and Japan, being also.
But I think we need to win all of them, though, don't we?
Yeah.
Is that?
But Italy and Japan are bottom of the table, so they're perhaps more winnable. It's the USA game that I think is going to be the big test.
And I think I think it comes down to other results, but potentially as well. So yeah, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough, and but Sweden have already qualified, guaranteed their qualification there. They were probably the favourites. But as that sort of indicated before, it's quite wide open for the other teams. So we shall see in the next couple of days. The semi-finals are on Thursday, I believe. And then the men's side is looking a bit concerning for Britain. This was perhaps where we were more confident of a medal, given that Team Mauer are sort of ranked world number one. And it's, again, it's still possible. Switzerland and Canada are assured of making the semi-finals. But we are quite dependent on what's left to happen in the tournament. And only one match left to play to have an impact on our own fortunes, which is against the USA, who are also in the hunt and have also been playing quite well.
Yes, we need to win against the USA, basically, and it's kind of important today because Italy just beat the USA, which means Italy is still in contention as well, but they have to win all their other matches, and they've still got, I think, Switzerland and Canada,
yeah, so they will have.
So that's unlikely, should we say? So it is literally probably going to come down to that GB versus USA tomorrow, which is tomorrow afternoon. So the women play them in the morning and the men play them in the afternoon. So it's a big day for the curlers tomorrow. GB versus USA.
But interesting, despite the way that it sort of feels in other sports where the USA are sort of the pantomime villains, and this time in curling, pantomime villains are very much Canada. Given the double touching controversy that's happened in the men's tournament. This was particularly in the Sweden versus Canada game where Mark Kennedy, Canada's vice skip, I believe, he was called out for touching the stone after releasing it, but before the hog line. And because he's touched it not on the handle, he just touched the stone to adjust it, he didn't get picked up by the censors. And because curling is normally quite self-refereed, I think normally people would be like quite sportsmanlike and would own up to making mistakes like that. But they were called out, and I think because the umpires do so little, traditionally in curling, that they actually didn't know what to do when actually a huge argument, a big sweary argument breaks out, and they have to determine
What do we
who was in the
do?
right. I mean, there was so
Yeah.
much evidence for it, so much video evidence, and they have since been watching out for double touching, and a few people have had shots banned for it. Rachel Homan, the women's skip, had a shot disallowed, as did Bobby Lammy, Britain's second, I believe he is. But both of those shots are quite strange because they didn't look like double touches to me. They looked like slow releases, but at least in my eyes, they didn't. They were, if they were,
There wasn't the finger poke,
there's
basically, which is what the issue was.
yeah, and it's sort of frustrating that it's like, okay, so we're enforcing it there, but we're not enforcing it when actually it's a very
Yeah.
deliberate,
Yeah.
undeniable offence. Um, I mean, the World Curling have sort of been scrambling to try and fix this issue. I think we are going to see some rule changes after these Olympics to ensure that things like this don't happen again. But it's a real shame because it's not a good look for a sport, and it's not good. Like, this is the sport where you declare early if you're behind, so because you don't want to waste the other team's time.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's such a shame that this is happening on the biggest stage. Just checking in with the chat.
So,
Nothing new.
is it figure skating next? Is that our next?
Figure skating, yes, it's been had its fair share of drama.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, when we last spoke last Tuesday, only the team event had happened so far. We've now had 3 of the 4 events, individual events as they were, decided, being the men's, the ice dancing, and the pairs. I'm just trying to find the right page, but I'll close that for the moment while I find it. But yeah, lots of shocks. First of all, in the ice dancing, where Madison Chock and Evan Bates were the favourites to win. After the after the short program, they weren't the leading overnight, and they had work to do to move into the gold medal spot. They did not manage to overtake the French, if I can just find the thing. So yeah, Fournier and Cizeron getting the gold there. Cizeron defending a title with 2 different partners from Beijing. There has been a bit of a controversy around this. Some people have alleged that the French judge deliberately underscored the Americans. The American authorities haven't put in a complaint about this, but there's been a lot of disagreement, especially as there was only about 1.5 points between the two. From a British perspective, we knew that the short program hadn't gone well, and the free dance went even worse, a very big mistake. Ironically, on the same element that cost them probably the silver medal at the Europeans, cost them badly here at the Olympics, albeit at the Europeans it was Lewis who messed up on that element, and here it's Lila who messed up. But they're still top 8, still a good showing for Britain. We've been lacking good figure skaters for some time now, and I hope they stick around, because I think maybe the next Olympics will be the time for them.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Olympic cycle, is that partners change, people retire, it all shuffles about a little bit, doesn't it, every Olympic cycle? So yeah, they could go from being like 6th, 7th, where they kind of are at the moment, up into the top 4. So yeah, we'll see.
And as if that wasn't enough drama, we went into the men's, where American Ilya Malinin hadn't lost since 2023, and just couldn't get his free skate together. The poor guy, the attempt, what were supposed to be quads were ending up being singles. There were falls, and as you see from his score there, he was 15th best in the free skate, which took him down to 8th place overall. You do feel sorry for him with like such pressure and expectation on him. And there were discussions about the quality of the ice given the number of falls. But given his in his not his absence, but his errors opened the way for Kazakhstan to win their first gold of the games, with Mikhail Shidorov only 5th after the short program. So I don't think that he ever saw this happening to him.
No, he maybe thought a medal, but not to gold because you feel like everyone knew it was going to be Ilya that was going to win it, but it just went everything that could go wrong kind of did go wrong, didn't it, in that routine?
Yeah, it's like I used the term comedy of errors earlier. I think it was beyond being at all funny in this
Yeah,
one. Um, and then in the pairs, this is the first one of the favourites really that has managed to hold on to the gold medal, but still wasn't without its problems. They
yeah.
had a big
Didn't
mistake in
make
the
it easy.
yeah,
Didn't make it easy for themselves, did they?
big mistake in the short program left them fifth overnight. But thankfully, Miura and Kihara of Japan had a really good free skate. I do love the pairs because it is just so insane the tricks they do, and
Yeah.
very much just man throws woman, woman does so many spins, and actually even despite the troubles in the short program, they still had almost 10 points over second place, the Georgians.
Yeah, first ever Winter Olympic medal for Georgia.
Yeah, which is fantastic. Even though they're not that Georgian, I don't know how well it will be received in Georgia. I'd be quite curious
Yeah.
to see. Um, and yeah, I think they'll be very pleased with that. I think the Italians had a bit of a, were perhaps expected to do a bit better, but weren't quite able to keep pace with it all. The pressure of the home
Yeah.
games.
It was a quad god meltdown, as the chat has been saying. It very much was.
Yes, poor guy, but I don't know if he'll try doing the World Championships in a few weeks for a bit of redemption.
Yes, yeah, possibly.
Uh, Moving on, freestyle skiing.
Yes, yeah. Obviously, loads has happened in the freestyle skiing. I'll start with the moguls. We get the moguls out of the way. um, as always, the king of moguls, Michael Kingsbury. He was, yeah, it was a weird one because he didn't get the he got the silver last time in the individual, the single moguls. And I said, even when I said he was a nailed on favorite, and then this time, again, he was the favorite, but again, it was very complicated because they kind of him and the Australian who did win the gold got the same score, and I still don't really quite understand how they decided. I think it is decided on time, I think. But either way, the Aussie guy won, same score, but it was amazing. He beat the legend Kingsbury, and the Japanese guy Hiroshima got the bronze. In the So the dual moguls is the new one where they kind of race each other. It was Kingsbury that did win the gold against Hiroshima, who I mentioned just won the bronze in the individual, and it was a different Australian, Matt Graham, who got the bronze there. So same nations, but just different people, different orders. So that was the men's moguls. Women's moguls. This was a big shock, actually. We mentioned favourites who are messing up, and Chikara Anthony was having defending champion. She was having a great time. Australia were loving. This is one of their best events. And then it literally, she just made a massive mistake on the second run. It was like she was literally dropping down for the gold medal and just completely went off the course, basically. She just kind of messed up on the actual moguls, didn't get to do the jump, and then that was it. It was game over. And it was just like, wow, big shot. And it was the American one too, Elizabeth Lemley and Jalen Kauf with the French Lafont getting the bronze. It was, yeah, these young Americans who were both shocked to be on the podium, especially on the top step. So that was a nice feel good times. And then they were also on the podium again. This time, Calf like getting a silver in the dual moguls with Lemley getting the bronze, but it was Takara Anthony who redeemed herself in the dual to win the gold. So it's kind of the same story in the men's and women's, that the one who kind of didn't win and maybe should have won ended up winning the dual one. So I guess they get a second chance now in the moguls. Now we've got two events in it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the dual moguls. I'm not sure if it kind of feels like it's treading ground that's already been trodden, but it is nice that these people have had a chance for a bit of redemption.
Yeah, yeah, I think that is probably the best thing about it. So I guess when you look at the other events like half pipe slopes, usually they're entered into more than one. So yeah, fair. Okay. And then after the moguls, let's do uh, yeah, let's do the big air because we've just seen that with the men's one. The men's. Oh yeah, I'll just do the men's big air now because it just happened tonight and it was just insane. It was just probably the most ridiculously high standard quality event of all the freestyle events we've seen at these Olympics. I'll come to the men's half pipe snowboard later because that was ridiculous as well. But this was just, I mean, the scores they were putting out. I mean, firstly, Norway won the gold, but it wasn't with Burke Ruud, who you'd expect. He didn't have a great day. He actually didn't land a couple of his jumps, and everyone was like, "What? You never do this? You always land." But it was his teammate Frostad, who did actually win the gold with a ridiculous run of scores. His lowest score was a 95.25, which didn't even count. So the 97 and the 98.5, which is just like he 195.5. 200 is the maximum you can get. He gets 195.5. It's like ridiculous. And then to have 193 in silver and 191 the bronze, it's like all to be in the 190s for the two jumps, just ridiculous. Matt Forehand, my favorite American name, he got the silver medal. And the surprise, I guess, was Spencer of Austria getting the, well, not a surprise, but he got the bronze. And yeah, again, he had a great day, put down some amazing jumps. So yeah, they were the medalists in what was, yeah, a ridiculously high quality big air final.
And it's insane that it was really not the conditions for it.
I know they've had real trouble in over in Livigno the last couple of days with horrendous snow. Things have been delayed. We were meant to have the women's snowboard slopestyle today. That got pushed back. So who knows when all that's going to happen. Hopefully tomorrow. But yeah, then the big air women's, which was on last night. Obviously, we were hoping for a medal for Kirsty Muir, given how how close she was. Uh, Not as close this time in terms of points. It's only 0.41 in the slopestyle. But this one, it was a mixed one because she put down a fairly safe first jump, like just to kind of get the feels for it. Which in hindsight, you're like, oh, maybe she should have done a bit more on the first go. But yeah, she got an 81.75, and then she nailed the big one in the second one with that 93, which was the highest score. I think of yeah, the second
Of
highest
the
of the whole
bees, yeah.
competition. Yeah, highest of that run. But yeah, one of the highest scores of the whole competition. But then it just happened to be that the Italian who was behind her, the youngster whose amazing story I mentioned her on the preview. She had a ACL injury and she's managed to win this medal with an ACL without an ACL.
This is how
So
you
we're
do it,
gonna
Lindsay.
exactly because they asked if they were going to operate on her when she did it in December. And they kind of said, no, look, let's just manage it. We'll get you through the Olympics so you don't have to miss the Olympics, home Olympics, obviously. And then she's come away with a bronze medal. She did the exact same trick as Kirsty on her last jump, but just the landing was better, basically. Kirsty just kind of leant forward a little bit and just kind of caught her hands in the snow. Whereas Tabanelli didn't do that. And that was the extra point she needed to kind of get that bronze, which was a shame. But Kirsty's second jump was incredible. And it was good to see her have that kind of moment, even if it didn't result in a medal. Because Eileen Gu was there in silver. Again, another great performance from her, but it was Megan Oldham's to lose. I think really she'd had a good qualifying, and then yeah, put down some incredible jumps to kind of win the gold there. So yeah, it was close. Again, shame that Kirsty's been not quite getting the medals, but yeah, and
But
obviously yeah, Mathilde Grimaud didn't even start because she injured herself in the warm up because of the conditions were crazy. So to not have her there as well, I thought would open the door for Kirsty, but yeah, didn't happen.
but it's still a big improvement on her results from Beijing. And I know that this sport tends to be a bit of a teenager's game, but I do think maybe if she can continue on this trajectory, she'll be 25 at the next Winter Olympics, and maybe that'll be her time.
Yeah, I feel like that is the peak now with these freestyle events. Yeah, you get youngsters. Obviously, Tabanelli's only a teenager, so I guess for Kirsty, you think, well, she's kind of already behind, younger than me, and she's winning the medals. But when you look at some of the others, like obviously, Eileen Gu's only 22 as well, so it's not
Yeah.
like. But I guess you're looking at some of the other events where you've got older and more experienced names. Even like Burke Rude's been around for a while. It does take 2 or 3 Olympics for some of these people to get there. So I'm hoping that it will come good for her next time because she deserves it.
And what do you want to discuss? Is that of
I
next?
think is I think that's all the freestyle scheme because we've got the aerials has been delayed,
Yeah,
and then the ski cross is still to come, and the half pipe hasn't happened yet.
which might be where Britain is looking for
Yes,
its probably
Uh,
remaining medal chance on snow.
highest reigning medal. I think it's our best chance for a medal of what's left in the Winter Olympics is Zoe Atkin in the women's free ski half pipe.
We'll just look at the ice hockey. We mentioned it sort of at the top of the stream, but yeah, if I go into the, why doesn't it do it? We're moving into, well, the women's ice hockey is firmly in the knockout stages now, with the gold medal match going to be USA Canada, and I just want to check, why is it the website's not being my friend. Here we are. Um, Here we have fixed it. Yeah, gold medal match, which will be on Thursday evening, USA Canada. I'm suddenly like, I'm like, this is the point that the competition will be getting interesting, because as such as the North Americans are so far ahead of every other country when it comes to women's ice hockey. But I think it should also be an interesting bronze medal match with Switzerland and Sweden. But yeah, has very much panned out the way we expected so far in that tournament. The men's moving into the we've got some playoffs going on at the moment, but we'll be moving into the quarterfinals tomorrow. Some potentially interesting matches there: Finland, Switzerland, Canada, Czechia. But I think we are still on course, barring a big upset, for Canada USA final.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. That's that. I mean, Luge is next on the list.
Yeah. So because we'd finished the singles when we'd last
Yes.
spoke, so we've got the doubles and the team event to discuss.
I mean, the doubles, both of them were won by Italy, which was nice change, given that the Germans usually dominate all of these. Yeah, so they won the two both sets of men's and women's. Italians won with a mixture of Austria and Germany taking the silver and bronze. Austria getting the silver in the men's and Germany the bronze, and then switched around in the women's with the Germans getting the silver and the Austrians getting the bronze, and then they all kind of shook out into the team event, which the Germans won quite easily from the Austrians, who just pipped Italy to the silver.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that Italy's success in the two doubles didn't quite transfer over into the team event. But I do like that there is now this sort of nice gender parity there across all of them, even if it means that it takes almost 4 minutes for each team to get down in the team event.
Yeah, but it's fun. I love watching them kind of tap the thing.
Yes, that's the best
the
part.
one.
And I think that's one of the reasons why compared to a lot of some of the team events, I feel are a bit forced and contrived, whereas I think that this one actually quite works because it is testing some different skills of having to hit this thing and having to launch off not when you please, but when you have to go. Much like a changeover in, say, swimming.
Yeah, I agree. It's good. It's good fun to watch. It's just like go go go. We're gonna hit it. Go. It's great. Okay, Nordic Combined. Anything about the Nordic Combined?
I am so sorry. I know nothing
Same.
about this.
All I know is that the Norwegian guy, Jen Luras Oftebro, has won both the golds in the large hill and the normal hill. And in silver medal was Johannes Lamparta of Austria in both of those events. And then Finland got the bronze in both as well, but it's different people. Ilkka Herola, large hill, and Eero Hiravonen got the normal hill bronze. So it's very much those nations.
Yeah, so we've got the what do we have left?
Just the
team event. Yeah.
Team large hill.
Yeah, I'd love to give more insight into this, but then I remember that actually I wouldn't love to. That would mean paying more attention to it.
Yes, it would. Short track, speed skating is next.
Typical levels of excitement from this.
Yes, obviously we mentioned the team event, the mixed event, sorry, on the last time we did this. So we've just got the men's 1,015 that have finished and the women's 500 and 1,000 that have finished. We'll just go through. I'll just go through in order. Men's 1,000. Well, it's weird because obviously we had the same gold medals in all of the same two men. That was Jens Van Hout, or Van. I like to call him Twoot because I don't know how to pronounce his name. But yeah, he's won both the golds across the 1,000 and the 1,500. It's weird, isn't it? Because I'll mention obviously Veltsburg won the women's, but the Dutch have now transitioning. They're not doing great in the long track speed skating anymore, but they are dominating short track. So it's really interesting to see how they've kind of switched that a little bit. But the 1,000, he won from Sun Nong of China. When the South Korean Rim John Un got the bronze, which was a surprise because he beat the Canadian Dan Gilu and the Latvian Krunsberg. So that was a fun one. And then in the 1,500, we got a bit of excitement from a British point of view with our one and only entrant, Will Tracy.
Niall Tracy.
Niall Tracy, not Will Tracy. I just saw the, the Canadian guy, Will. Niall Tracy, who basically, when he won his semi final, it was amazing. He actually won the semi final, and it was quite comfortable. And everyone was like, he just did tactically a great race, just kind of went halfway through and just kind of led from the front. And I said, asked the guys, come on, chase me. And they couldn't. So, yeah, he was in the final. Obviously, other people have been advanced and whatnot. So there were 9 of them in the final, which was obviously quite a lot. But yeah, it went to Van Troot, who won the gold. The South Korean Daehon got the silver, and it was the Latvian Kronberg who got the bronze. Again, some of the big names like Sharon Liu, Sun Long, and the 2 Canadians, Dan Gilou and Dubois, didn't even get on the podium there. Unfortunately, now Tracy kind of fell over, took someone out, but was penalised for that and ended up actually 9th. But it was just good to have a Brit in the race.
Yeah, I mean, we were excited when we saw he got out of the quarterfinals, and
Yeah.
then made a big point of going to the fan zone in Cortina late at night to watch the final race. We were probably the only 2 people in the fan zone, and we were just stood there wrapped in our British flags until we got the penalty at the end, which was like, oh.
I know, he doesn't even get his diploma. You get a diploma if you're in the top 8 at the Olympics, so he didn't even get one.
But it's still a very, I'd say, about as good as we could have expected from a one-man short track team.
Absolutely.
I know that in short track we're not really as competitive as I'd sort of think we should be, but
well, there's an article on BBC Sport about that actually today, about what's happened to the British short track program, because it was kind of a happy hunting ground for us. We always had chances of medals at least, and now it's like, I mean, basically they withdrew the funding. It's kind of one of the reasons why we're not doing so well.
But it'll be definitely nice to see us start getting there again. I don't know if normally a top 8 is a good sign for lottery funding. It's not a top 8, which might, but hopefully I think that they can look past that, the people deciding the funding.
Yes, yeah, definitely. The women's event, the 500 was first, and yeah, it ended up with the usual kind of suspects you were expecting to be in that final. Zandra Veltsboer of the Netherlands got the gold. I mentioned her on the preview, her and her sister. She's the better of the 2, and she did win the gold there quite comfortably from Ariana Fontana, getting another individual medal. So she's now tied as the most decorated Winter Olympian that Olympian of all, sorry, of all, summer and winter, most decorated Italian Olympian ever. She's tied on that at the moment. Courtney Serrell of Canada got the bronze. And then, in the 1,000, we were hoping that Ariana would then become the most decorated Italian Olympian ever. Unfortunately, she just fell short and came 4th. It was a bit of a frustrating race for her. She kind of just lost distance in the last couple of laps and couldn't quite get there. But Zandra Veltsboer won again. This time it was Serrell in 2nd. She's had a great Olympics already with her 3 medals. I think she's the only one who's had 3 medals, because Netherlands didn't get a medal in the mixed event, so she's got the 3 medals. And then it was Kim Ji-lee of South Korea who got the bronze ahead of Fontana. So Fontana can still win a medal, and I think she's entered for the 15. I assume she is. And then there's obviously the women's relay as well. So you think that with Confortola there, you'd think that the Italians will have a good chance in that. If they did qualify. So I just checking, they qualified 2nd fastest. So yes.
And then progressing from the short track, next alphabetically is the happy hunting ground for Great Britain.
Yes, the skeleton, which we had tickets to. Well, we didn't have tickets to the first runs of the men's. We were watching them in Venice on our phone. Matt Weston. Let's start with that, because that was the first thing we saw. That his first run was a track. Well, basically, he set a track record in every single run.
Yeah,
it was that. But it was that second one when he really got the distance between everybody else, wasn't it? Because he was still quite close up to the first run. But yeah, it was that second one when he was like, "Sorry guys, you're really gonna have to chase me."
And I might be mistaken here, but I think he's the first man to have won every run in an Olympic skeleton event. I know that Lizzie Arnold was the first woman to do it, but I think, and I probably should have looked into this more, but I don't think anyone has ever done that before.
Well, yeah, fair play to him. Yeah, he did great, and ended up winning the gold. It was quite comfortable at the end. He won it by almost a second. I know you were a bit stressed, Alex, when you didn't think he was going to do it.
It wasn't that I didn't think he could. It was just that, what if something goes wrong? What if he just has not that Skeleton has crashes so much, but what if he just takes a big hit and loses all his time? And whereas when we were watching Niall Tracy in the short track, and I was stood there saying, "We've got nothing to lose. It's fine." I was like, "We've got so much
Yeah.
to lose here."
Yes. Yeah. I mean, obviously it can happen, but because it's spread over 4 runs now, I do think there is that buffer where he could have to make a massive mistake to lose all that time, and he didn't. So yeah, and it was the Germans that were the main rivals. Axel Junk got the silver, and Christopher Grossier got the bronze. They were pretty closely matched behind, but they were, as I mentioned, almost a second behind Matt, which was good. And Marcus Wyatt was ninth overall after a bit of a shaky second run.
Yeah,
Kind of scuppered his top eight.
it's a shame that he wasn't a bit more closer to the medals. I don't think he was ever really going to quite threaten for a medal, but
Yeah, we said on the World Cup on the preview, didn't he, that even though he's like second, he's had he's won whenever Matt Weston hasn't won a World Cup, Marcus has won it. But we know that this is not his course. Falcon, I said that on the preview, he was not expected to do much because he doesn't like the course. So,
um, over in the women's, Janine Flock finally getting her flowers. It's
yes,
been a long time coming for her. She had that agonising fourth place. I think it was fourth place in
yes.
2018.
First of all, basically,
First to
first,
fourth, which she felt really
last,
bad for, but then it did give Britain both a gold and a bronze. So it,
yes, yeah, no, that was a shame, but yeah, she's redeemed herself massively. She was fastest. It was great because she wasn't that great at the start. She was one of the slowest starters every time, wasn't she? But she was just doing that course so well. The last few corners, she was just nailing them every time. And yeah, she was fast. She never had the track record, I don't think. Maybe on the first run she
yeah,
did,
she
but
had the first track record on the first run.
then after that it was the Germans that kind of were beating her. But then she was the second one was the only one where she didn't win. Where other than that she won the third and fourth. So she was won by 3/10. So it wasn't as big a gap as what Matt had. But yeah, the German Susanne Kreher was second, and Jacqueline Pfeiffer was third, and defending champion Hannah Nisa was fourth. So it was a good kind of German backing up there, and behind there in fifth was Tabby Stoker of Great Britain. She had a good first run. The second one was where we kind of had the little mistakes, and then she was solid. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah,
Whereas,
go ahead.
whereas I felt like Kim Mailman's of Belgium had a really good third run. And she was gonna got so there's lots of chopping and changing between like fifth, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and Freya Tarbet was in that hunt as well. She had a really good second run where she was fourth fastest, and then ended up finishing seventh overall. And Amelia Coltman a really good last run. She messed up. She had a bit of a shocker in her third run, which put her back a lot. She ended up ninth overall, but her last run was fourth fastest, which I know I kind of heard her talking to her family afterwards, and she said she was so pleased with that final run. So had we merged them all three Brits, I think they might have been on the podium if we worked at the time. Yeah, it was a shame. They did good. Good to have three of them in the top 10.
Yeah, and it was just a bit difficult because this sort of raised a lot of intrigue as to who would be best to partner with Matt Weston for the team event, because nobody was like the consistent faster one, and you're thinking who's going to be better on the day. And especially with the Germans winning both silver and bronze in both events, it looked to be that they were probably the favourites for gold and silver, and it would be, we needed to put our best foot forward to give them to have any chance of really standing of beating them and posing a threat to the gold medal.
Yeah.
And so in the end we put the best overall finishers together, Tabby Stoker and Matt Weston. And I mean, we were discussing with some American guys beforehand that were saying, we should be on for the bronze. I don't know about the gold, even though they were going last. And Freya Tarbet, she actually ended up having the faster time of the British women, which
she had the fastest time of all women.
So it sort of raised that thing of, oh no, have we partnered them wrong? Have we, cost ourselves a medal? But Matt Weston was so utterly supreme on that final run that it didn't matter, and he got Britain comfortably the gold medal, and he became Britain's first ever double gold medalist in a single games at the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, obviously we've been waiting for them to add this event in for ages because we love the skeleton and we were so good at it. It was to see that we can have this option now where we can get double gold medalists. And yeah, I knew that after the first one we were 0.36 behind the Germans, but I thought, well, Matt can definitely make that up, and then it was whether how much he could make on top of that as well. When he ended up almost getting 2 tenths on that. So yeah, there's only 100 between the two Germans in silver and bronze, which is really interesting because the bronze team looked like they went first. They looked like they were going to be the ones. The two bronze medalists individually then did end up getting a bronze, and the two silver medalists ended up getting a silver. So weird for them to kind of have two silvers each and then two bronzes each. But yeah, it was good fun for them. But obviously, yeah, great for the Brits to win that. And then another fourth place though, which is a shame. We love the fourth place at these Olympics, but after Freya's run, I thought, oh God, we're really in with a shot of two medals here. Kind of hoping that the Germans would maybe mess up, but not, unfortunately, Marcus didn't have the best run. He had one big mistake, which meant he was only sixth overall in the men's run. So, yeah, had he just maybe, yeah, he was only a tenth really. We were just a tenth, and that one mistake was probably that tenth. So we could have had two medals here, but yeah, we can't complain about having another gold.
But yeah, I think this is another one where obviously I'm a bit biased by the fact that Britain won the gold medal, but I thought that this was an absolutely thrilling addition to the Olympics. It was right up to the final run where it decided who got the medal. And with the starts being, again, you can false start and you have to go on the dot rather than in your own time like you normally would in skeleton. I thought it did test new abilities that some of the other team events that have come in over the last dozen years or so haven't really done. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
absolutely love this. Keep this, please.
I agree. The starting thing was you wondered how many people would false start, and when Janine Flock, the women's champion, did false start, and she added over. Well, they add you half a second, and whatever your false start advantage was, and I think it was over a second for her. So had that not happened, the Austrians would have finished fifth or sixth. So
And
that just shows how much it cost her because they ended up in ninth. So
what really hurt her was that she false started, then went back trying to
yes,
stay, and then ended up getting such a big penalty over it. Whereas if she had just committed, then she would have stood a much better chance of getting up a couple places. But moving on to the next sport, which alphabetically is ski jumping. I take it you've not followed this much, Chris?
no, I mean it has finished now. I think we did a few events. The women's normal, men's normal, and the team normal last time. So it's just the large hills that we need to worry about this time.
Yeah.
um,
Well, Domin Preyut's finally getting his individual gold medal. He got the team one, along with his sisters part of the team as well. But they weren't doing so well in the individual events, as had perhaps been expected. Both his sister got the silver in that, and in the normal hill he didn't even get a medal at all. And then in the women's, I forgot that they did women's large hill now. I know that they were a bit slow to introduce that. Another bronze for his sister and gold for the Norwegians.
Yep, same as woman who got the the normal hill gold.
Good double for them. And then in the men's super team, Austria prevailing.
Yes, ahead of Poland and then Norway in third. I think the men's is obviously a little bit more random. You can see mixing obviously the Tom Haziak, the Polish guy, is the only one who, well, him and the who's got three medals basically. He's the only one who's got all three medals in each event. So none of them gold, but three medals.
I mean, they seem to have cancelled the final round, so I don't know what impact the weather was having on the competition. I know, obviously, in ski jumping they have all sorts of wind compensations and gate compensations, and it's all too much for me to follow.
Okay, snowboarding. That's next.
Snowboarding, woohoo!
Woo. Yeah, we left it after the big air last time. We'd done both the men's and women's big airs and the giant slaloms. So the next one was the men's snowboard cross.
Yep.
Which we'll do. We'll do the men's and women's together because we'll get those done. Yeah, and then this was it was good. The men's one we were expecting. Yeah, we were kind of expecting a few of the guys. Like what's the Baumgartner, the American who's in his 40s, he was having a good time of it in the heats and the semis, and ended up messing up the semis actually, and then just went into the B final. But it was the Austrian Alessandro Hamellet, who got the gold from Eric Grandin.
Mm.
We have Canada with Jakub Dusek of Austria getting the bronze. I think I mentioned all of those guys on the preview, so they were kind of there and thereabouts expected. So the only kind of moderate surprise was Adam Lambert, the Australian, who was top of the World Cup this year. But I kind of said, I think on the preview, that he hasn't really had much championship experience, and it kind of showed that he did kind of flop a little bit and went out in the heat. So yeah, it was good fun as always.
Yeah, and I remember after Hugh Nightingale suffering a bit of an early exit, and I said, well, that gives more incentive for the team event.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess the same was for Charlotte Banks. She as all, it's a shame she won her first heat and then again fell and didn't get out of the quarterfinals, which is exactly what happened 4 years ago. Individually, for some reason, it just doesn't work for her here. She's won world titles, world medals, always races well in the World Cup, and yeah, ended up going out early again for her another fourth Olympics in a row. So that was a shame for her. And then we kind of said that the main names were Michaela Mioli of Italy and the Australian Josie Bath and the Czech Adam Shikova. They were kind of the main ones going into the final. That ended up being the podium. Josie Bath keeping this gold run for Australia on the snow going with a nice win there ahead of the Czech. And then Mioli getting up for bronze for Italy, which is good to see because she's always been a medal favourite in this event.
Yeah, but I think we should stick with the snowboard cross and go to
Yes.
the team event because a little country I know won their first gold medal on snow here.
Yes. Yeah, it was a complete shock. Obviously, we were at the skiing, so we didn't see the heats, and we kind of only saw the results before we even thought about watching the final, which was a shame that we missed it. But looking through the rounds, it was Britain did win Heat 2. They beat the Australians in that race, which obviously was quite a good win. And then we had a good win again in the semis, which was okay. So we beating Australia 2 in the heats, and then it was between Great Britain 1, France 2, Italy 1, and Australia 1. Which again are pretty strong teams when you think about who won individual medals. So winning, going undefeated into the final was actually obviously good for Great Britain, but the final was a tricky one in a way. I think we kind of were always chasing the French, which was interesting for Charlotte Banks being formerly representing France. But yeah, she just did such a good job of reading them in. I mean, Hugh obviously did a good job on the first leg. Australians, Adam Lambert crashed out, and obviously that meant that Josie Bath, the individual champion, had too much to do. So that was kind of Australia out of the medals. And then it was a race between Britain and France. It looked like for the gold. Charlotte got overtook and had a great few rollers, and then managed to get the lead in quite a sizable lead. And even the commentators were like, "She's going to win the gold." It's like, let's not say that yet until she's crossed the line. And then it was amazing that Mioli, the Italian, somehow managed to get up for silver, literally right at the death, beating the French into third. So, it's a thrilling race, and we could have said in the preview it could go either way. We might not even make it out the heats, or we could win the gold. It's that kind of event, and we do have a strong team. They were world champions in 2023, so it's not a massive shot that they can do this, but it was just great that it happened at the Olympics.
But it is great to see how far Hugh Nightingale has come on, because I sort of remember in Beijing it was very much with these two that it was Charlotte Banks was riding very well in the team
doing all
event,
the work,
but she was riding so well in the team event, but was just given such a deficit to catch up. Whereas he finished second in his heat, in his run of the final, and not far behind first, so it meant that Charlotte could stay in touch right until she needed to make a move.
Yeah, exactly. Like you mentioned, that's literally what's made the difference since the last Olympics is how much he's come on and how much he's kind of given Charlotte that extra little bit of time, less time to catch up, basically, and he's been able to kind of help us get a gold medal, which was very exciting.
Yes, Britain have went from having never won multiple gold medals in Olympics to winning 2 in a single day.
Yeah, 2 golds in the same day, just outrageous. And then the other events we've had, let's do the half pipe. We'll do the women's half pipe first. I mentioned it, I think last time, the three-peat that was kind of happening between a few of the women coming into the freestyle events, like Anna Gasser in the big air. She didn't get the three-peat. And then it was the same for Chloe Kim in this one. She was kind of, she's always a favourite going into, even though she wasn't having the best season. It was still like after qualification, it was like, okay, Chloe Kim was fine. She's okay. She qualified top, but then when it came down to it, and she was leading going into the last round, she put down a good 88 and didn't land her next two runs. And then the South Korean Choi Guan on her last run just absolutely pulled it out and did a 90.25, scored that, and that was enough for the gold. And it was a bit of a surprise, really. Chloe Kim couldn't do it, and yeah, South Korea got the gold there from Kim, and then Mitsuki Oni got the bronze.
I was wondering why I couldn't see it as I've clicked on the wrong event completely. I was like, this isn't looking like what Chris is describing.
Other than that, I guess the other disappointments in the final, Maddie Mastro didn't land any runs and was last. Elizabeth Hocking of Canada didn't have a great time. And the legend, the Carol Cassell, who's been around for forever, she's been to every Olympics. She's still going at 36. She's meant to retire after Beijing, but she came back and she finished 10th. So, yeah. And also shout out to her. Yeah, is it Chloe Kim's sister or is she not related? I can't remember. The younger one, B Kim, she also had a good finish there in the top eight.
But there's something nice about sort of passing over the torch from Chloe Kim being Korean American to Choi being,
Yes,
yeah, Korean representing Korea.
yeah, exactly. So it's kind of staying within that world. Men's half pipe final. Oh, it was so good. It was such high quality. Again, this competition always seems to improve every time you watch it at the Olympics. Obviously, I was so desperate for Scotty James to win the gold because he's had a whole Netflix series and everything about this, and he's had all the bronzes and silvers you could want. He's won every gold medal in every other discipline, like in every other championships and whatnot. And it just didn't happen again. It was so close. He was only 1.5 away from the gold, and some commentators, Headley in particular, were saying that he felt Scotty James deserved it with his run, but the judges were being quite strict on how clean the runs were, more so than the tricks, because Scotty did some amazing tricks, but one of his, not his landing, but he kind of readjusted between the jump, and I think they marked him down on that. Whereas Yuto Totsuka, who did win the gold, he was just clean, very clean, doing the similar tricks. So that's where he kind of got that extra point and a half. So yeah, 95 for the gold for Totsuka. Scotty James with the silver with 93.5, and then bronze with 92 for Yamada of Japan. I mean, it was Japan 1, 2, 3, 4 at one point, and I feel quite sorry for Ruka Hirano in fourth because he did 3 runs and he scored 90 in the first run, 90 in the second run, and 91 in the third run, and came away with no medal. It's like to do that, to score in the 90s 3 times and to not even win a medal. It's rude, to be fair. But that was how good the competition was. And shout out to Valentino Gazzelli, who has been horrible time with injuries, had multiple surgeries, came into this a bit undercooked, and on that last run he put down an 88 and managed to get up for fifth, which was amazing. So yeah, it was a really fun competition, really high standard. But I think it was probably trumped by the free ski big air tonight. It was the highlight of the freestyle events.
Is that all the snowboard covered, or is there something?
Yeah, no, we're just waiting for slopestyle. We were meant to have it today, but it didn't happen. So we're just waiting for the men's and women's slopestyle. Whether they'll do them both tomorrow or not, I don't know. But I guess the only surprise and shock in a way was that Mia Brooks didn't make the final. So there'll be no British entrant in there, which is a shame, but it's still going to be a good competition.
And then rounding out with the long track speed skating.
Yes.
This is your realm. You know better than I.
Yeah, I can't remember where we got up to last time. I think we just did
men's 1,000 would be the next. That's from the Wednesday.
Let's do that. It was I'll do this in the 500 together, to be honest, because it's just easier because it's the same people. I mentioned on the preview it was going to be a big battle between the young American phenom Jordan Stoltz and the Dutch guy with the cool name Jane de Boo. And it was basically Olympic record for Stoltz in both the 50, the 500, and the 1,000 to beat Debu in both of them. And then bronze for the Chinese guy Ning Zhongjiang in the 1,000, and the Canadian Laurent Debril getting the bronze in the 500. So yeah, it is going to be a battle between these two. I know that obviously Americans are very excited about Jordan Stoltz. I can see he's all over the socials, and NBC are probably getting very excited about him. So no, it's good. It's good. I think it's good because the long track is an event where they have had lots of success in the past, but they haven't dominated because the Dutch have. So to have someone like Stoltz who's now dominating is really exciting. So we've got the 1,500 meters to go.
They've taken a bit of a dip since the sort of Shani Davis and Apollo
Exactly.
Ono
Yeah.
era. Obviously, I know that Erin Jackson won gold in Beijing, but on the men's side, they've not
Yeah.
been so competitive.
Yeah, but it's good for him to dominate. And then the other men's event I didn't do last time was probably the 10,000 meters, which was a long one. But I did again in the preview mention this other teenager, this other phenom, the Czech guy, Metodej Jinek or Jirek, Jirek.
Metode Yilek, I think.
Yeah, you can do pronunciations I can't. He won quite comfortably actually in the goal of the 10,000, ahead of the Polish guy in third, and another a Dutch medal, a rare Dutch medal again with Debut. It's just that's it. They haven't won. It's mad that they haven't won a gold on the men's side, which is when you think of the days of Sven Kramer winning absolutely everything. It was only like a couple of Olympics ago. Yeah, not to get a gold yet. Crazy. Still got the mass start to come, which should be fun. And then in the team event, Italy won the gold in that one. They've got a really strong team anyway. USA was second, and China got the bronze.
Yes.
And then I was going to crack on to the women's, but yeah.
Go ahead.
Women's is a bit more solid, a bit more stable. With in the 500 and I mean, we did the 1,000 already, which was won by Jutta Leerdam, Mrs. Jake Paul, but she then was beaten by her compatriot Femke Kott. They swapped medal positions in the 500 and the 1,000. So Femke Kott won the 500 ahead of Leerdam, and the bronze both times went to Miho Tagagi, who I can't remember. Just check how many medals she's got now. She must have loads. She has 2 golds, 4 silver, and 4 bronze from the Winter Olympics. So she's very much a legend in Japan. And then the longer distances, I think I met Lola Brigida. We knew had already won the 3,000 last time, and she backed it up by winning the 5,000 with a Dutch silver, and Vikland of Norway, who got silver in the 3,000, getting the bronze. And then in the team event, it was Canada who beat, again, no Dutch gold here, even though they have obviously more of the sprintier ones. They've been winning the golds, and the longer ones they haven't. So that wasn't a great surprise. And then Japan got the bronze with Takagi getting another medal. So she's had 3 bronze medals at these Olympics so far.
Yeah, it was an interesting point that with the women's event that Wilf O'Reilly was making in commentary, saying that how the Dutch pursuit team, because they train for different clubs, they're not really used to skating together. While the Canadians, being much more as part of a national program, were much more well drilled in that regard.
Yeah, it does make a difference, and it's showing now. And it's just, again, I can't get over the fact that we've only got 2. I mean, Italy have won more gold medals in long track at these Olympics, and America probably won't be far behind if they win the mass start or the 1,500. So, yeah, it's crazy to not see the Dutch at the top of the medal table in speed skating, but then you pop over to short track, and they are, where it's usually been Asia and America, they're dominating that 4 golds. And yeah, it's mad. It's just I can't get my head around it. They've just obviously gone, no, we've dominated this for too long. Let's leave that one and go to this one.
But
I don't get it.
Fascinating to see if Italy can build momentum from this, because they've only won long track golds at home Olympics. So it'll be interesting to see 4 years' time in France if they're actually, assuming that it is in France, because they haven't chosen the speed skating venue yet, and there has been some talk of it being held in Italy.
Interesting.
That it might be a case of are they able to do that in a foreign country when there's perhaps not so much funding and pressure and everything that comes with a home Olympics.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, yeah, it's been good though to see that kind of change in a few of these events. So it's a nice mix up.
So shall we review by just having a little look at the medal table?
Yeah, let's do it.
Norway, as is tradition in many ways, is comfortably out in front on 14 golds and 31 medals overall, which huge haul. Italy in second with I think 9 golds, and that's, I think, their best ever Winter Games ever. They won 6 in Torino, so this is far better. And USA third. Netherlands still looking healthy despite their not so great men's long track team.
Yeah, it's mad that the 6 medals again have come in speed skating still. The 6 golds, so just 4 are in short track. So,
and then Canada finally making their way through up to 3 gold medals, so they've finally overtaken Britain.
It's mad that we're literally only today the Canadians have overtaken Great Britain on the medals table, which is crazy.
And then Australia in 12th and Britain in 13th. So there's a little run of Commonwealth countries there.
Yeah, I mean, I was mentioning Australia have been doing really well in some of the moguls and stuff like that, and they've still got the aerials to come as well, so they could get more. Yeah, and then yeah, Great Britain there with it's just weird seeing three goals and then nothing else.
Yeah.
Obviously, if we had a fourth place one there, there'd be a few more, but
But it's also,
not
I'm
to
just
be.
like, look at us. We're ahead of like former, like recent host countries like Korea and China.
Mhm. Yeah,
So yeah, we probably won't be meeting that medal target of 6 at these games, but I think that we can hold our heads up very high with 3 gold medals.
yeah. I mean, it's going to be a miracle if the Kurdos can get into the semis. So that's kind of where we're looking at those extra medals because we've only really got Zoe Atkin as a confident medal chance to come. So I don't think we've got any others, have we? Really? I mean,
I wouldn't say
yeah,
so, unless someone else is able to spring a surprise. But Brad Hall may be in the 4-man, but with the injury,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the only other one, isn't it, really? So yeah, but still, it's been good. It was a good weekend, a good few days of medal, a little bit of like raining medals, isn't it, for a bit?
it's because we were there.
Basically, yeah.
That or
That's
because
how it
I
works.
I wore Olympic branded underwear for the first time in my life.
Also, one last thing in the chat on in the game is asking Japan does an amazing job at being good at a vast array of sports. That is actually a very good point.
Hmm.
Japan, they are there in like we've mentioned the ski jumping, the speed skating,
Figure
uh,
skating.
yeah, figure skating, and then also the freestyle events. They've got such depth in the half pipe and the big air and all those kind of events. So yeah, they do. We need them to host another Olympics, don't we?
Yeah,
That's what we
I mean,
want.
Japan is. I think although it's very tempting to picture Japan as a very hot country, it is actually get some of the highest snowfall in the world. It's got a lot of resorts and a lot of places where rivers freeze over. So it's you can sort of see how that happens and how it's sort of spread into lots of different events.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they've done well so far. So they probably due a few more golds, given they've got 19 medals, but 10 of them are
Yes.
bronze. So
Yes, but I
yeah,
think, as you mentioned with hosting, I would, yeah, quite like to see maybe Sapporo um, bid for the next available Olympics in 2038.
yeah, I'm all for it. And finally, just quick thoughts. Oh, pivoting to athletics chat. Quick thoughts on the women's 800 meters regarding Keely, Audrey, Georgia, Lillian, Mary, Sarah, and possibly I think Femke, who has shut down her indoor season because of a tendon issue. So yeah, women's 800 is crazy.
Yeah,
Even Isabel Boffey, we should maybe mention as well. So
it's fascinating to see this impact of the rule change and how breaking after 2 bends now is really
mm,
changing the way that they're racing it.
yeah, and obviously the times have been dropping quicker as well. So yeah, maybe that world record is going to go at some point. Obviously, Keely's racing in Lieven,
Leah Vant.
that place, and obviously Femke's not now. And yeah, who knows? It's going to be a good season. Whether and we know Keely's not doing the Commonwealths, which is a shame because we mentioned how good the Kenyans are. It would be a good chance for her to race them, but yeah, Europeans obviously is in Birmingham, so that should always be a priority for the Brits this year. But yeah, it's going to be a fascinating season, and already seen how good Femke's run as well. And obviously, even even when we was at the Winter Olympics, we bumped into Radzi, the presenter, and we literally he was like, "Oh, great, we won a gold in the skeleton. So just talk about Femke Bol. What are your thoughts on that?
It
Literally
was it
nothing else.
was like, oh, Chris, you're here. So Femke Bol.
Yeah, like what are your thoughts? And yeah, we think she's definitely going to be a threat this year. So can't wait.
Yes, it's going to be an exciting season, and yeah, World Indoors, Commonwealths, and Europeans. I actually really love this year where it's actually you've got lots of smaller events to target.
Yeah, and it's great to have the Winter Olympics just so early in the year as well. It feels like the sporting year's almost peaked already.
Yeah, don't put it that way. That'll make me sad.
No, but it's been so good, and we've still got a few more days left. It's going to be a good finish. We haven't even started. We haven't even seen ski mountaineering yet.
Yeah, we can't decide if that's good yet.
Exactly. So definitely stay tuned for the next few days, and we'll hopefully do a roundup of everything the last few days and the whole games on Monday night.
Yep, that's the plan. And hopefully nothing stands in the way of it.
Yes.
But for now, hope Hope everybody watching and listening enjoys the rest of the Winter Olympics.
Yes, enjoy.
And other than that, we hope to see you again soon.
Bye.